All right, my friends, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? We are going to create a custom game. Ow! Don't attack me. Don't attack me, cat. Don't attack me. Ow! I have my cat over here. Oh, camera's at the wrong angle. Camera's at the wrong angle. Now she's flipping her tail. She's like, uh-huh. Time to destroy you. Evil human. Evil human that feeds me. You must be destroyed. Hello. Cat. If I zoom out, my desk is a disaster area. Here, hold on. Nope, I'd have to angle the camera downward. No, I don't want to do that because it's too much of a pain to get fixed. Alright, we're going to get started. What did they add? Wow. I added custom game configurations. So you can do your game the way you want, man. The Planet Maker thing? Yeah. It's not just the Planet Maker. You can definitely change the planets, but it's more of, you know, setting up the game, right? So changing the planets is part of it. So I still got like 4 minutes before I officially said I was going to start. So let me just hang out, chillax for a little bit. Anti-smart, but man, what's going on, dude? That's how I feel all the time. I feel anti-smart for sure. Michael, how you doing? That's it. That's it. Jeff, what's going on? Ow, ow, ow. No claws, no claws, no claws, no claws. No claws. That's bad. Claws are bad. Hero Cammy, change username. Nice. Cat, yes. Yes, claws, good. No, man, her claws are super sharp. Truce, truce. I'm just trying to pet you, okay? He does not upload videos anymore? Who's that? Me? Dude, I have things going on in my life, man. Don't be all judgy. I got 2 more minutes. No truce, only pain. Dude, I usually walk around with cat scratches and bite marks all the time. I like playing with my cats. And I play hard. And they play hard back. All right, 2 more minutes and we'll officially get started. Should probably bring up the release notes. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. I was drinking last night. I wasn't drinking today. I was drinking last night. I still taste it too, man. Did tacos. Josh, what's up? Ron, what's going on, man? All right. Well, it's kind of almost officially noon. That got 1 minute. So, System Error released this morning. I believe it was like 10 a.m. Central or Central Standard Time. They released their update, which is a configuration update. The update that they've been talking about for a while And the community has been asking for, well, 6+ years. I know I've been asking for it for a really long time. Really, really, really long time. And so Joe is, he's transitioned over. He's a new guy now. He's still doing, it's a little hard to understand what he's doing. First he was the, what do they call that? Like a community director. So he was in charge of all social media related stuff. And then he got Gina to come in and help. And he's kind of his role's kind of transitioned. And now he's more guiding this year's game development. So his ideas. And, one of the ideas that I've talked to many times with Joe about is this idea of having a custom games, to be able to configure Astroneer in a way that it's replayable over and over and over again in any which way you want it. So, Alum with a Prime sub. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Can't stick around. Have to work, meeting, catch the recording. All right, buddy. Take it easy, man. Thanks for being here, though. And I don't know why that I didn't have... Oh, I have all that stuff turned off because we were playing... Hogwarts. Okay, so back to the custom games. So, the idea of the custom games is being able to change the game, and then the game becomes infinite, right? You can play it as many times as you want. There's no end to the levels of configurations that you can wind up doing. So that's what they've been working on for the last however amount of time. My cat just hit my... Hey, come here. Come over here. Come over here. Don't sit in the middle of my monitor, okay? Of course, that's exactly what she's going to do. So they've given us the ability to do not only to make custom games, but also to share custom games. And the things that you can change is, you could skip the launch sequence. You can... I'm sorry, I moved that because my cat is in the middle of my monitor and I can't read, so I'm going to have to go off to the side. Come here. And the respawner, power settings, oxygen settings, research settings, solar system settings, planet-wide settings, biome modifications. The Astropedia has kind of changed to support some of that. And then, yeah, all that good stuff. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. And so let me turn off this display. And let's get into the game and actually show you what it looks like in game. So when you go into the game for the first time, or for a new game, or whatever the case, you're allowed to do a custom game. Does it disable achievements? No, it does not. No achievements are disabled. You can go into custom games, and initially you'll be on this little home tab, and you'll see an option to create a new custom game, and it says SES configurations. These are the games that SES has. These are the configurations that SES has put out. So they have a story mode, which is slightly easier than normal mode, and we can look at that. If I clicked on a configuration, there goes my cat. If you click on a configuration, then you can get into the configuration settings. Like this is, is it published locally? Is it published for everybody to see? What the name of it is? Do you skip the launch sequence? Do you skip the shelter? All that kind of stuff. Starting items, they give you a portable oxygenator and a cute RTG. Respawn settings, you can respawn anytime you want to. There's no limitations on respawning. Power generation, they're actually, the multiplier is default set by 1, so they're increasing power generation. Consumption is 1. Solar and wind power multiplication is also increased by 1. And then oxygen consumption is actually consumed less. Hole, what's going on, man? And how long have we asked for? 6 years. We've asked for this for 6 years. Hole saying, how long have we asked for it? 6 years, dude. Research settings, you give yourself starting bytes. You can change the research modifiers. And there's a bunch of stuff that you can disable. And then, of course, the planets. And this is where it gets interesting because you can go in and modify a biome. You can add a seed. You can add a planet modifier. You can add a biome. There is an enormous amount of changes. So that was That's default. So there's 3 different configurations that SES has given for you to just like out of the box play. And then you can create a cloud save configuration. There are configurations that are shared, and I believe that these are shared by your friends. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure about the import configuration. So there's some things for me to learn on how to import a configuration if I happen to put one up for you guys. And then locally saved configurations. And I kind of started and messed around with some stuff. And I'm going to just delete this because we're going to start over completely. So let's start a brand new custom game for ourselves. Let's see. First of all, I'm not going to save it. It's not going to be published. But let's just call it... you don't have a lot of characters in here. So let me just do OLM for OneLastMidnight. We're going to do hard for our hard mode. And I'll call this V1. I'll call this V01. And we're going to skip the launch sequence. Now, my only question is, can you put Glacio within hugging distance of the sun? You can't move the planets. You can alter them, but you can't move them. There is something interesting, and it needs to be confirmed yet. So during the testing, Ron found out that Ron LaFlemme, if you guys are part of my Discord, you'll know that he's huge on Astroneer, that he found a defect, which is if you start without a shelter, you're not able to advance some of the missions. So the very first couple parts of the missions in the game are like attach power to your shelter or attach the oxygenator to your shelter, and they unlock missions. And so if those missions don't get unlocked, you can't progress. So you can't get to the next step. You can't get the hoverboard. You can't get all of that. I don't know if they fixed that or not. So let's pick. I'm gonna leave no starting shelter unchecked. I want to check it and actually try it, and maybe we will. Kind of makes sense though. Yeah, but they said that you were able to hear about. They said that you were able to do the missions and get the achievements. So I think it's a defect. I think it's a defect. Cheese. I can't see that that'd be something that is real. You don't even know how to get the hoverboard normally? Oh, it's super easy, and it's so worth it. So let's choose a starting planet. And, you know, I don't really spend enough time on, like, Novus or Visania. So I think one of these would be a good starting planet, right? Don't you think? Let's bar what's going on. Let's do Novus. I mean, I hardly ever do Novus. I am going to save this now. Otherwise, I'm going to forget it. Oh, damn it. I didn't save. I hit the wrong freaking button. No! Can you believe that? That's kind of an interesting start. My landing thing is inside of a mountain, and I'm inside of a mountain too. No. Of course, I can't dig up the ground. Top tier spawn. Everything seems normal now. Right? Look at this. Look at this bad boy. That's actually a really cool landing spot. Where the hell am I? Elevated off the ground. Kind of neat. All right, let's go back. Game over. I know. Let's go back to the... Because I'm showing you guys how to do a custom game, and I just screwed up my first custom game. 2 So let's go back to custom games. Locally save. See, it didn't save. So it is... There's something that is like really wonky. At any rate, let's go again. OLM hard version 01. Astroneer, what's up, Astroneer? Save configuration locally. Let's do that now. I almost feel like this confirm settings and continue should not be... I don't know. Anyways, I'll pick this all apart. Let's skip the launch sequence. Let's go to Novus. We'll save. I don't think that that's SES. It might be SES. I'm not sure. Do we want to give ourselves anything to start off with? Anything? Oh, it is us. It is you guys? Are you sure it's you guys? There's so many fakers out there in the world. There's so many fakers. What did I send you guys? Give myself some glow sticks. I sent you guys a package one time. What was in that package? Uh-huh. We'll see if you're real or not. I have that mug on my desk. Okay, all right, you're real. You're real. SES is here. Hey, SES, since you're here, is that Joe by any chance? Joe, would you like to get into Discord and have a chat? Or no, you don't want to chat today. You want to be anti-chatting? I have a question for you, and you can answer it in just text. But why the... Well, okay, for my very first question, you can in like 20 minutes? All right, I'll wait 20 minutes. I'll hold off all my questions for 20 minutes. Okay, so we're going to continue to keep going on. Should we give ourselves anything? You know, Joe suggested glow sticks. Glow sticks are like the most useless thing ever. But okay, all right, we'll give ourselves some glow sticks. Joe, thank you. Thank you for that. Let's see. Speaker, a horn, a horn. Give ourselves a horn. One backpack full of glow sticks. Oh, that would be so dumb. A whole backpack full of glow sticks. Oh my god. Okay, let's go. Let's move on. Let's move on. All right, limited respawns. If I do limited respawns though, that's it. Game is over. Let's not limit the respawns yet, because I can go back and change this. All right, power generation multiplier. I want less power, so I want half of the power that you could currently get. Maybe even slightly. Let's go down to a third of the power that you could get. I wonder how bad that would be. You can't go no power. You can only go down to 0.1, so you're gonna get something. You're in a meeting, but I'm ready to answer all your questions soon. Let's go. Yeah, you know what? I want to do a third. Power consumption multiplier. Let's go up. Let's go up a half. No, let's double it. Let's cut. Everything costs twice the amount that it normally would. And then let's reduce our wind power by like 50%. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Okay, oxygen consumption multiplier. Scales the rate in which oxygen is consumed. Make it consume. Hell yeah, break the game. Make it consume twice as much. Oh, I did 3 times. That was super hard. Let's do 1.5. Alright, starting bytes? No, no starting bytes. But let's reduce the reward. And let's increase the speed of researching. Now, I do want to disable some things. Let me go back here. I am going to save this again. Can you imagine an Iron Man channel with double the O2 consumption? I did triple the O2 consumption, and it is so fast, you can't barely get anywhere. All right, terrain anchors, negative. We don't want terrain anchors. Block leveler, leveling block, negative. How about just adjust max consumption? Terrain anchor was like, it's more really for creative mode where you are able to put something there and like a terrain anchor, and it helps with the resolution. So if you're building something big, you can put terrain anchors around it and you won't lose the graphic fidelity. Let's see, disable packager, disable oxygen filters. That would be really interesting. Disable oxygen tank. Disable the portable oxygenator. Ooh. I kind of like that idea. No more portable oxygenator. You could achieve it in different ways. You can get the snail. Stilgar. If we disable tethers, though, then I would kind of almost want to have the portable oxygenator. We could do no tethers. That's going to be kind of tough with our consumption, though. Let's play it out here. Hold on. We can go back and change it. It's not that hard. It has to be playable. I made one that was unplayable. I mean, I couldn't last. You could not last more than like 3 minutes on the planet. It wasn't worth it. So I think for these things, while it's going to be fun, I think the problem is that you're going to really need to have to think about what the impact is. Disable the narrow mod. I know that's something I never use. That wouldn't affect me at all. All right, let's go with that for now. Let's just go with that for now. I mean, can you imagine disabling the trade platform or the atmosphere condenser or the soil? Not playing without a soil centrifuge, though. That's interesting. Disable coal, disable rail cars. All right, we'll go back and we'll look at that in a bit. Modifiers. Why did I have planet modifiers on here? I didn't. So for planet modifiers, let's look at Novus. Oops. Let's look at Novus. We can modify some biomes. We can make the flats bigger. The crater's bigger. The hill's bigger. We can ambient wind speed, random wind gust rate. When you do disable an item, does that mean it can't spawn in the game or you just can't make it? I believe you... Oh, that's a really good question. Make it all mountains? Oh, God, that would be one hell of a start, wouldn't it? Let's increase the mountains. We'll increase the mountains. Is that biome weight? That's probably biome weight, right? Let's increase the height by 1.5. I mean, it was already... I think it was only for the printer, so you couldn't make it, only find it. Okay, well, that's interesting. I'm going to save this configuration. Let's test this out, okay? So what I have is... I've got some glow sticks. What the hell? I've got some glow sticks for us to start off with. I've got... Let's see. Unlimited respawns, power generation, power consumption. That's good. Oxygen is increased. Consumption is increased. No starting bites. We increase research speed multiplier. Is that... Did I increase the research speed? Streaming light? We could do streaming light. Thank you. Work light. That's a good... So I increased the research speed, right? Let's decrease the research speed. Alright, we're going to save it again. We're going to test this one out. And if it's good, then we'll start doing other things. I really need to talk to Joe about the starting shelter and if they fix the problem with the missions. You increase from 1.0 to 1.5. Yeah, I don't think that speeds it up. If that's how I'm reading it, it speeds up. So 1.0 is normal, right? And 1.5 would be half faster than that. But I wanted to decrease the research speed. All right, let's go. Set. We increased the mountains. I'm underneath the shelter again. So let me save and back to main menu. Better spawn this time. I'm still underneath the Oh, I can restart to spawning shelter. Here. Slower research time, right? So you're not getting the bites that fast. That's kind of good too, because you know you can find bites all over the place. I think I didn't get my light. Where's my body? Oh, interesting. No glow sticks, no light. Is that because I killed myself and it's on my body? And then that would be, where is my body? Is my body, because I was in the ground, is my body below me? Check the platform? I don't think it's on the platform. Yeah, unpack the oxygen. See, so this is the one that I don't think you can do. I don't think you can advance. If we pick no landing, no hab for landing, what Ron was saying is there's no way that you can achieve this. Unpack the oxygenator, install an oxygenator on a shelter. Installing an oxygenator on a shelter would not, you would not be able to do that. Lights in the distance. Discover a gateway chamber. Yeah, you can do that, but you wouldn't be able to do this. To the core they went? Right. Can you make the planets have infinite landing zones? No, there's no change for landing zones. If you build a shelter later, the problem with that is that the shelters come with an oxygenator already preset. So they're already preset into the... So you'd never be able to place it into the shelter. Okay, so I'm off tether. Yeah, look at the consumption now for the oxygen. That's really going to restrict exploration to begin with. Though there is some compound right here. And there is some resin right there. What did I set the oxygen to? Astropedia configuration. Consumption was 146. I don't know why I didn't go 145. 1.5 is... That's pretty good consumption. You still have time to run around? Is it too much time to run around? Do we think it's too much time to run around? Should we reduce it a little bit? Just a little bit? Let's try to see if my body was down here. I get my glow light. Maybe 1.6? I think, yeah, let's try to bump it up a little bit. Let's go back to the main menu. Let's go to custom games. Let's go into our... Now this is kind of interesting. It saves each save. So was this the last save that I was in? Let's get brave. Let's do 2. Let's do 2. 4.3 would be really hard. I did 3. 3 is almost impossible. But let's try 2. And why does it have all of this? I guess once you start it, it gives you the seed. That's kind of interesting. We'll save the configuration. Perhaps, but what if you made the player the Flash? Made him move faster? Come on. Give me realistic stuff here. I don't know that I like it's saving versions like that. There is a problem with getting out of the shelter, though. But I don't see anything on my backpack. But I have something on my backpack now. Nice. I made it on the top. Alright, let's see. That's pretty good. That gives you like just enough time to dig up 1 or 2 things and get something built. Like a filter or something. For once I conquered the shelter. Let's see. Come back over here. Grab a little num-nums. Grab a couple. Okay, get a filter made. Oops. No oxygen, max drill speed straight to the core. Bookworm, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. Resin is a lie. What is this gonna give? Nice. There's a little reduction there. Nice. What else? What did we get rid of in the research catalog? Oh, Jesus. Let's see if I can find a plane. Did make the mountains bigger. Forgot what the fractal rose was all about. I think that's endgame content. If we start off with a shuttle instead of a shelter. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, survived it. We need some compound. Could you increase and decrease gravity? Yes, you can change gravity. Found some power here, which is really nice. And we found a broken down area. Does this give oxygen by any chance? Look at the power over here. Wow, we just changed a little bit of the mountains, and I have yet to be able to leave the mountains. There's compound. Need a generator to keep my power going, otherwise I'm no longer going to be able to make filters. I thought you could switch that off on your backpack. I guess I have to have it up here. Why didn't I take the wind? We're just testing. I might want to change my modifiers here before I get too involved. I mean, we put more mountains on here, and I've yet to be able to see a flat area, which I guess is fine, but there's finally a flat. Long way from where I started, though. Gotta find some more resin so I can keep going exploring. JD, what's up, buddy? I like where we're at with the oxygen. I think that's a good match. The filters, they're not too overpowered. They feel about right. It might bump it up just a little bit more. But I think what we nailed the configuration for oxygen, at least. I'm really concerned about the starting shelter. I don't mind having no starting shelter, but I do mind not being able to get, at the very least, the hoverboard. Oh, dang. One more filter left, that's it. Hoverboard's easy to get, but I told you, if you start without a shelter, you're not able to progress in the mission, so you'll never get that mission. That'll never be something that you'll have access to. And I don't know if that's a defect or not. See, this is really all you need. If you don't start with a shelter, this is all you really need. You've got some oxygen off of here. You can't save with this shelter, but this is like a really good starting position. Could you build tethers off of this thing? Is this tetherable? Do you have to do missions before the hoverboard unlocks? That's a good question. That really is a good question. So if you don't have the mission or access to the mission, like as in part of the progression, do you get it when you find it? Let's see if we can tether off this thing. Oh, we can't tether. No, we can't tether off. We can make tethers. But since we have no oxygenator, it doesn't provide oxygen. Or does it? Did it just get stuck on terrain? How is that possible? Dude, that's a bug. Can you set that you only start with a rover? Yeah, you can set it that you start with a rover. Gonna have an oxygenator to use those tethers? Not really. As you can see, my friend. Let's see, let's pop another tether down. In line with this one. Okay, that second tether, yes. The first tether, no. A free filter. So let's see, we got here. With not having a shelter. With not using oxygen. Right? Just using the oxygen filters. We were able to get to a place where we could call it a base. Right? It provides us oxygen, even limited oxygen. It provides us some oxygen. Anti-smart, take it easy, buddy. Alright, let's do this. Let's go back to the configuration file. So that was 6. Let me load up 6. Let's say no starting shelter. I'm going to get rid of the glow sticks. We'll just do a work light here. Power generation. We haven't been able to play with power yet to know if that's really going to affect me that much. The oxygen consumption, I think I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it at 2. Oh, can we start off with a vehicle? I don't think so. No. We cannot. Is the update live? Yes, it is. That would be nice. That's one of the things that I had asked, is if we could... It'd be nice to be able to deliver, like, let's say just one tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 item. I'm going to get rid of the seeds for all these. Boost mod would help. Let's go back to Novus. Biome modifier. Let's go back and we'll increase the hills. What did we increase it to? 1.5? Can we type in here? No. We'll do 1.5. Alright, let's test this one out. No starting shelter. You gonna disappear too, Starface? Alright, take it easy, buddy. Alright, no starting shelter. I started on a planet that I'm unfamiliar with. Luckily, I got some resin right away. Let's just mop up some of this stuff. I don't want to take too much. Get an oxygen filter. Let's see if I can't find some compound really fast. Need a little bit of organic. There's my compound. Okay, let's get a generator going. Good. Alright, let's see if we can find some place to base. Until I get an oxygenator built. If we're lucky again, we can find one of those... kind of those, like, derelict bases. That would be good. Oh, let's take, get a little bit of lights going. You want to talk about eating up resin, though, man. This would eat up resin like you wouldn't believe. To live off of this. It's too bad these guys don't give oxygen. I would set a base here, but it's alright. So what's custom about this game? Mine, personally? The one that I just set up? As soon as I get some place to give some oxygen, I'll look at it. I'll look at it because I'm on a time clock now, man. I sped up the consumption amount of oxygen. So I'm burning oxygen twice as fast. I reduced the power consumption, power generation. Started on Novus. Because why not, right? Nobody ever starts on Novus. And why would you start on Novus? Make a car? Can't make anything right now. I have nothing, my friend. What I need is a constant supply of oxygen. Where am I going here? Try to go north for a bit. We're going to try to find one of those derelict bases. Oh, reduce the amount that research bytes... reduce the amount of research bytes that you get. Increase the amount of time that it takes to actually research anything. Don't die. Oh, whew. Increase the mountains in this particular area. Man, I'm finding some good stuff, but... take this. Take the battery. I'm gonna get some resin while I'm here. Don't need the extra organic. Wouldn't it be funnier if you only started with a tractor? It would be nice to be able to pick that as an option. I agree that we should be able to get like one larger scale item. Right now, it seems like it's only backpack. But if you could pull off a larger scale item. How we doing? Surviving, my friend. If you go into my Discord, I think you have rights to get into the live stream chat holding area. I'm pretty sure you do, Joe. This is Joe, right? Let me know when you're in there, because I'm racing against time here. I'm looking for my savior, which is a downed area. Swap the gen for a wind turbine? You're in there? Alright, hold on. Joe.
Is this thing on?
It is on. What's up, buddy?
I'm sorry, the audio today is not going to be that great. I'm using a webcam mic because I'm at the office.
Dude, no problem. Hey, first, congratulations on this update, man. It is a huge achievement.
Thank you. I'm really excited about it.
I know you guys have been sweating over this for how long now in the shadows?
Too long. Definitely too long.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I'm trying to figure out the happy combo here. And, yeah.
A lot of extremes.
A lot of it's what?
A lot of extremes, you know, a lot of like...
Yes.
Big decisions.
No, and it is. And it's, what I found really interesting about it is that you really, when creating a configuration file, you can foobar yourself really fast. Just by not putting one thing in there. So it's a lot of being able to know the game and understanding really what this item is going to do to you long term. But I did have a question for you. And
please.
What happens when you do no shelters and the progression of the missions? Because one of the very first missions is to is to place an oxygenator on a shelter, and so doesn't that hard block you from going any farther?
Pretty much. I mean, there's ways to jump around, but you have to basically like progress super far and then print one. But then like, even if you print one, it comes with it on there. So that, you know, there's like, you kind of can get yourself soft locked until you progress really, really quite far, actually. And it's one of those things where we were talking about it in the... We knew this was a thing, and we were like, oh, man, should we take out no starting shelter? And I was like, no. Like, you know what I mean? Just making that choice of saying, like, should we keep the feature and then try and fix this later, or should we just put the feature in and then let people know that that's what's going to be until we come up with a fix? And I just opted for the prior. I mean, we've just been like... The philosophy has been like, hey... People can put themselves in really tough situations and maybe even soft locking situations, but like for the one person like you who might really want to have no starting shelter, not for progression, but because you want to like make some really awesome Iron Man run or some like crazy game mode, like at least it's there, you know? So that's kind of where we're at with it. Like, yeah, it kind of works progression right now. We're thinking about how we can fix that, but we're just kind of indexing on like giving you more options.
What about, I mean, and I'm just spitballing here, but your current shelter, if you wind up building one, comes with an oxygenator in it. Why not just, when you build a shelter, you don't provide that oxygenator and then we're able to make an oxygenator, put it and drop it in, right? Is that what you guys are thinking along those lines? Or are you thinking maybe you just, because you chose not to do this particular one, you guys auto complete that one achievement?
That's the plan. The plan is actually just to, the simplest plan is just to say, if you choose this flag, that mission just gets completed when you land. You know, like it just auto completes it for you.
Gotcha.
Because we're just assuming that like anyone who chooses no starting shelter, they don't need the tutorialization of like, you know, having you slot the oxygenator into the shelter so you understand how oxygen works. Like by that point, you are like a pretty hardcore player. So
well, you would hope, but that might not be the case, right? You
that's
might,
the thing too.
Right. You might get brand new player that says, "Ooh, custom game. Let me try to jump in here and go from there." What?
Click a bunch of crazy options, then just go for it. Yeah.
Right. One of the things I was a little confused about was, why do you have, under the SES configuration settings, why do you have that button that says create new custom settings? Does it mean that I am creating or suggesting a new setting customization for SES to look at, or is that saying I'm creating my own and it's going to save locally? What is that?
Okay, so I'll talk you through the sort of flow there. So that's just for you to create your own, because like we basically figured that like most people are just going to click on a preset custom game mode, right? Like there's a lot of settings. There's like 400 settings that you can potentially change.
Right.
There's just and you're spoiled for choice, and so it's just like a lot. So for a new player, most people are just going to be like, oh, hardcore mode, cool, I'll just click that. But the button is there, and what I wanted to actually do is, and I hope we end up doing, is that those we have like a slot for 4 of those presets, like hardcore mode and then story mode, and then what I'm hoping is I actually slot in like, you know, let's say you come up with a really cool mode, we can like put that in there and say, hey, OneLastMidnight's Iron Man mode or something like that, you know. And there'll be like an image and like some other stuff that actually goes with that that'll make it like kind of cool. We just didn't do that, so they're kind of in the same list, but imagine if those preset modes are just treated a little bit differently, so they look different, so that way when you go in there, you're most likely either going to click one of those or you're just going to like create your own. And then the way it works for once you create your own is that you can share that code, you know, you can click that button, share the code, or you can just click to save locally, and then if you go back to the previous page, all your locally made saves are like in a separate tab in that list. So
let me give you another kind of
yeah, all the feedback, please.
So I was confused. I created a video, and I honestly was confused when I first started playing it, because I didn't realize that after you made your configuration, you had to really say, hey, I want to save this. So
Yes.
So think, you know, I spent some time, and I hit the button to say, oh, go test this out. And then when I went back and said, oh, I want to edit this, let me show you guys how to edit it, it was gone. So is there what's the thought process about, and maybe you guys didn't think of it at all, but are you sure kind of thing? You didn't save your configuration. Here's a little message that says you're going to lose this configuration once you hit or is there some other way to recover it?
Yeah, so my vote is actually just to like save that configuration and just auto assign it like a name right off the bat, right? Because like,
yeah,
you know, just say custom game 1, custom game 2, custom game 3, like something like that, so that way, you know, if you mistakenly just forget absent-mindedly because you're doing a lot of settings, like there's no like deliberate button you have to press in order to like so you don't mess it up. And we actually added, we don't have like, or we never had a button in the game really that was like, hey, do this or something will happen, or don't forget. And what a lot of people were actually doing was, you know how you can hit the back arrow to like go back to the main menu?
Yeah.
It used to be that there was no confirmation there, so you could just click the back arrow and then lose all your settings, and it was brutal. So it's like, we added that and we try to safeguard it a bit, but yeah, it's kind of annoying if you like spend all this time and you forget to say save locally or press share code, or maybe you're offline or something like that and you forget to. So yeah, my thinking there is that we just like literally just auto save it for you, and maybe like auto assign it some random name, so that way at least it's there and you can go check it out.
All right, that was you guys, you know, you have a very interesting opportunity. If you don't know, Joe is, I don't know what your title is anymore, but I'm still assuming communications director.
A lot of jobs. No, I mean, yeah, communications is my main thing. For this year, I am the lead on Astroneer, the creative lead. So, you know, I'm working with the team to like come up with the updates and then kind of be the designer that's in charge of like figuring out how we do things.
Which is super exciting. Are you trying to get into like the programming end of it? I know you do the whole Latin's game thing. Is this something that you're trying to progress into away from communications, or what's the deal here?
Now this is a Joe Tirado interview. The studio just, there was an opening for someone who could like keep steering the ship for Astroneer, and we just, you know, we keep going like, hey, every year we're like, hey, are we going to keep doing a content for this game? Like, you know, it's just a question, it's a business question, like, does it make sense to keep doing it? And every year we're like, yeah, it is. Actually, yes. And the game is doing so well that it would be silly to not keep going. And And so the team was like, hey, you know, maybe we can move some people around and give some people some opportunities to do some stuff that they want to do, but maybe like they wouldn't have the opportunity to do otherwise. So yeah, I've slotted into this like creative lead role. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and like it kind of works. Like I'm pretty in tune with the community. You know, I can talk directly with people and ask them what they want and talk to them about the things they want, and then have those discussions. You know, like if me and Gina are the representatives for the players of the game to the team, then yeah, it's a cool opportunity for me to be like, hey, I think this is what people want, and then try and actually make it happen with a technical team. So yeah, I'm working with some engineers, and I'm doing mock-ups and planning things and trying stuff out, and then yeah, we're implementing it all as a group, and it's been really fun. It's awesome.
No, it's really exciting because I mean, you have always been kind of the focal point for, you know, that communication, right? Wouldn't it be nice if we had, and but now that you actually get to make the decision, right? So if you say,
Yes.
wouldn't it be nice if you had, and you'd be like, ooh, which you do a lot, but your ooh can actually be implemented now, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, within certain limitations, obviously there's business and
Yeah,
people and all
yeah,
that
yeah,
other
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, if I decided that I wanted to add Gene's face to the game, you know, I can just do it. It's fine.
Well,
You
that's
know,
a
we could
that's a
we could
must. I don't even know why you're talking about that. That should have been in last week.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
Okay, well, you guys have a very interesting I don't think Joe's going to have much time, but if you guys have a burning question about
yeah,
the
feel free to hit me up.
yeah, about the update, definitely put it in the chats, and can you please just give Joe a big thanks from the community? Me and my girlfriend love this game, and we're going to do a custom game mode this weekend. Absolutely, and I'm sure he heard that.
I did. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really excited. This weekend's gonna be really fun because like we're also like featured on the homepage of Steam this weekend. So like there's
Oh,
gonna be a lot
nice.
of new people. Yeah, I'm stoked. There's you know, for this kind of thing, I'm really excited because it feels like there's so many different options for so many different players, and I'm just, you know, we've been talking a lot about hardcore mode, but I was like kind of the person who did all the spec last year. Remember when we did like the accessibility updates and the controls updates and all that kind of stuff?
Right.
That's like a thing that I care about a lot, and so part of me is like stoked for this update because it's like, hey, if the game is like a little bit too hard for you, if you can't manage balancing all the things because you have some sort of accommodation that you need, like turn on free oxygen and play the game normally and like experience it and like use that as an accessibility option. So there's a lot of stuff like that that I'm also really excited for too. Like people are like, oh, I want to play with my kid, but it's kind of hard for my kid to do this or that. And it's like, hey, just make it a little bit easier and like play the story and have fun and like don't be afraid of that. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm stoked.
There was a couple little suggestions here, which is, can you please give us the option to disable the pumpkin shelter in the custom configuration, and then also
Yes.
Kilmowski, who's been around for a very, very long time.
Oh, I remember Kilmowski.
Yes, has been asking for this filter on the extractor.
Yes, I actually have that on like a backlog of a thing that would be really cool to have. I would something that I really want and I've been pushing for is I want a tier 2 auto arm. I want to be able to like move tier 2 items around.
What would you do with that, though? I mean, really, what would you? I can see research.
Yes, exactly. That's what it's for.
Okay.
Moving research around, and then for people who have like crazy automation farms just because they want to have fun moving T2 objects, yeah, go ahead and do that. But mostly for research. It's kind of lame that you can like automate almost everything else, but you can't automate research.
Can't automate
or you
research.
can, but with like the smaller pieces, which is not as fun.
Right. I asked this question probably a year ago. It's when you guys came out with the hoverboard and stuff. So it's got to been over a year, right?
A while ago, like almost 2 years ago.
Almost 2 years ago. I'm sure you can't tell us, but can you give us a hint at least when you're going to talk about your new stuff? Are you guys gonna? You're doing new stuff, right? Can you even say that much?
I'm gonna give you the same answer I gave you last time because this is now I can take my creative lead hat off and I can put my communications manager hat back on. Hello, this is Joe now, the PR person.
Which is mind your own business.
No, It's the truly honest answer is like obviously we're a company that needs to like make money and continue growing and do all the things that we need to do as a business. And so it would be silly for us to not be thinking about how we continue to grow our business. And normally that means people make new games or they make new versions of their game or
Right.
they continue making stuff in their IP. And for right now, Astroneer is paying the bills and then some. So, you know, could we be exploring other things? Of course, and we should be. Like any company, any game company who has had a game out for 6 years is going to be exploring what they want to do next. But we're in a really cool position where we can like take our time to do that. So nothing like official or solid or like anything there. Just of course, but also no specific details.
So keep paying attention to you without really paying attention to you guys. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, when we have something, you'll definitely know.
Okay.
It'll be really obvious. But
Okay. All right.
like I said, for right now, this game is every year we're just so surprised as to how like well it keeps going and how many more copies. I mean, we just had like an awesome summer sale once again, similar to last year's summer sale.
Can you say the number of new players that have gone on?
Oh my gosh! Oh, hold on, I can give you for this year. How about that?
Oh, that'd be great.
Hold on, I'll pull it up. I mean, so actually, we hit a threshold. We hit a milestone that we talked about today in our press release that like we reached 12 million players overall who have played Astroneer, like unique human beings.
Nice.
Which is insane. But for you creator types who are still making Astroneer content, which is maybe why you're asking this question, let me see. Year to date. Oh my goodness. Okay. If back in napkin math, 500,000.
500,000 this year?
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
It could be, you know, orders of magnitude higher or lower than that, but
Yeah, sure.
as a back of napkin thing there, it's still a lot of people. It's
Still a lot of people.
coming.
Yeah, a lot of interest there. That's great. I mean, seeing, I don't see as many old players. Yeah, there's dedicated players that are just, let me try to create the newest, greatest game or sculpture or whatever. But I've seen people filter in and out of Astroneer, and I was just curious if it was getting the traction or maintaining the traction that you guys expected, or if it's exceeding what you expected. Because every game, because every game has its life. It's either you made something that is a masterpiece that's going to last forever, or there's some peter out point, and I think that's true for any product.
Yep, it's always, we're always planning for what happens next year if there's only 20,000 new copies sold or whatever. But, most other games would be, how do I say this? If you launched a new game this year and you sold 500,000 units, you'd be beside yourself. You'd be so excited. And we're doing that on a 6-year-old game, which means like we're still very much alive, very much active. And so we just got to figure out how much longer we can keep it going. And I really wanted this update right now in the game's life cycle, because it does feel like we're kind of handing over some of the keys to players and saying like, hey, this is bad for you. Okay, you're fine. You got slapped in the air there.
I know. It's going into outer space.
That we, it's like we're gonna keep making stuff, but what if we can start giving people the keys to start making their own stuff, and content creators to make their own sort of novel experiences, or try to make the game harder or easier or whatever else. So yeah. People are asking about storms in your chat. I see. People are asking about that.
Well, here's the thing, and being a pre-alpha player,
yeah,
and seeing the size of Kilmowski, thanks for the tip. This is the best game ever developed.
Thanks, Kilmouse.
Kilmowski's a huge fan. Same with Ron. What was I saying? You distracted the shit out of me.
I think it's the best game ever.
Early
developed.
access player or pre-alpha player.
Yeah, being an early access player, and going back to the size of things, where the planet size was. I mean, I've got streams of being lost on Tundra for 3 hours, you know,
Yeah.
trying to find my way home. And I realized that all of this was performance. How do we gain it? Because there was a big performance problems early on. You know, do you guys ever envision, have you figured out the performance problems, and do you ever envision being able to give us back experimental sky, give us back size? Because you guys did something a little tricky and you didn't say anything about it, but I noticed it. In the creative update, you guys reduced the planet size again.
We did make some adjustments to it. Yeah, we had to at that time.
Yeah.
So,
Is this, but when we're talking 6 years now, is there, have you guys figured out where the performance leak is, or are you guys just to the point where it's like, don't mess with it because it might cause another problem?
It's not a leak. It's just, you know, if you think about early access planets, they obviously had caves, they obviously were pretty big, but they had overall like much less active stuff on the planet, like things that move, you know, things that animate, things that are constantly figuring out what's going on around it. And then add to that 5 layers of caves, which maybe wasn't the best choice as far as how many layers of caves to put in our planets. I mean, I love them all and they're super cool and unique and fun, but like, I think that's like adding 4 separate smaller planets within each planet, basically. You know, if you think about it, the surface area that you're covering. So I think a thing that we're thinking about is like, how do we potentially optimize the stuff that we currently have, but then also how could we make changes to the experience so that way you don't feel like you're losing much, but it does run better. And you know, a lot of people ask us about like next gen upgrade for consoles and stuff, and like, yeah, I mean, all of that kind of stuff is on the table right now. We're gonna keep doing this for the foreseeable future without a real end date, which means, yeah, we're having conversations. I mean, you mentioned weather. There are definitely conversations about what we could do to enhance that system and make it more fun and more dynamic. There's definitely conversations about, man, wouldn't it be cool to have new environments that are not just this solar system? Like, there's so much stuff there, and obviously this is me just spitballing about like random ideas that are being thrown out. Nothing solid there, but like, wouldn't it be cool to kind of not start from scratch, but say, hey, there is a new solar system, and there's some choices we make here to get this but lose this, but that's better overall, and we can make that choice. And I think you said this earlier, the unique part about this is that could actually be a decision that we make a little bit more with the community, because I'm in this role now, you know. So like, I could present to you some ideas about some things that we're thinking about, and I mean not just you, although I'm sure I would talk to you about this, but the greater you of the community, and say, hey, what if we brought back this and we did it in this way? Would y'all care? Would y'all be into that? And then have that discussion rather than just sort of make the decision on our own because we think that's what's best.
And for those of you guys that are listening, don't clip Joe saying there's a new solar system. Put the whole context in there and let people know that these are just ideas that are being spitballed around.
Hold on, I'll give the clip to those people who are going to do that. We're definitely going to make a new solar system, and we're definitely going to add storms back to the game. There you go.
and water. Might as well add water too.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna put it on. We're gonna put it on the PS2, and then we're also gonna put it on the PS1. And then we're gonna port it to the Game Boy Color. We're gonna do all those things.
Mark just said, "Oh no! Oh, I finally died after all this time."
No, I feel like you've just been kind of coasting right now. I'm sorry, you're just running around. Trying to chat.
I've been looking for something. I've been looking for one of those bases that has the landing platform that you can kind of get oxygen from, and and having that be my base, because my custom configuration so far is consuming more oxygen, no starting shelter, and seeing what I can do to get to a point where I can maintain life. No, but I think being able to find one of those POIs that produce oxygen is a win. And unfortunately, before you came on, before I started the second version of this, I found one quite easily, but now I am not finding one at all. Yes, tough. Let me go back and look at this. Can you allow auto arms to grab from players' black backpacks like they used to? Don't they still do?
They don't, because it was actually like you would walk by your auto arm and then it just like get yoinked, and you had no way to prevent yourself from that happening. It was actually kind of frustrating.
Has Joe thought about using voice attack with Astroneer? Is that an issue? We can use third-party software and stuff like that to do macros and all that good stuff, right? You guys aren't anti that, are you?
No, you should totally use whatever stuff you want to use for the game. It's totally fine.
Ron is asking that for his own. He's a huge macro writer, and he's got this macro where you fly around, he'll flatten the ground for you. You know, it'll just yeah, it's neat. It's neat. It's all get out. It's totally neat.
Yeah.
Some quality of life kind of stuff that it would be kind of difficult for building. He's kind of written up in the macros, and now he's using voice attack. So,
yeah, cool.
Yes.
I mean, same thing as I'll say before. Whenever I think about stuff like this, I'm also thinking about like, hey, maybe this will enable people to like, who can't play the game, to be able to download some cool thing that helps them make the game easier for themselves. So I'm like,
that is awesome. Storms, etc. are
see, this it's happening. Someone super chatted in your thing saying, awesome that storms are coming back.
I know, right? Right. They've already posted it.
It's already on Reddit. Someone's already farmed like 50 upvotes. Yeah. You better watch your power generation right now.
Yeah, I actually hosed myself. I'm having flashbacks of your stream the last time you played this. You did exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Now I need to find myself a power cell.
Yeah, Jenny.
A power cell somewhere, quick like. You talked about continuing to optimize and working on the engine as new stuff comes out, and people of course are asking, next gen this, next gen that. Are you guys looking at going to Unreal 5 and possibly using what, Nanite? Is that what it is, Nanite? The new rendering tech that they have in there?
No way. I mean, I think it's really cool tech. So, and I love Unreal. Like, they've been huge supporters of the game. But it's really not a thing that like we could actually pull off. You guys couldn't, based on. Like, we could totally do it. It would take 6 months of just purely engine upgrade time. And when it ends up happening every time we've done an engine upgrade, for whatever reason, last time we did it was for Switch.
Yep.
We reintroduced 10 of the old bugs that everyone hates. Like we reintroduce terrain scenes.
Yeah, but you fixed sticky feet. I mean, that was if you didn't go to Switch, you would have never have fixed sticky feet.
Right, exactly. So
so there's some benefits there. But what would it gain? I mean, what would it gain you? Because that technology seems, out of this world kind of impressive, right?
It seems amazing.
Yes.
I think the way I look at this kind of thing though is like, it's sort of like trying to take a PS2 disc, and put it in a PS4. Like, just the way we have created and crafted the game doesn't necessarily account for all of these really awesome new things, and so we would kind of have to remaster almost. You know what I mean? Like, we'd have to go back and change a bunch of art assets and change the way we handle certain art, and some of the decisions we made. So it's pretty tough actually. Like, it isn't a plug and play thing. Also because the default thing I always tell people is like, Unreal just assumes that down is down, and in Astroneer down is not down. Down is down until it becomes up, or until it becomes left, or until it becomes right. And like, there still is no out-of-box solution for that, right? That's our own custom stuff. Unreal assumes that the ground is actually solid and isn't going to change all the time. Guess what? Our game has non-solid ground, and you can change it all the time. Oh, hi, Dave. What's up? Dave's in chat. Dave's a new member of the team who's like been helping with product and things like that. So hi, hello.
What's going on, Dave? Welcome to the team. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll do any engine upgrades, but there are still things that I would love to do. A thing on my backlog is like, man, it would be cool to do Steam Deck full compatibility. Like, the game is compatible, but like Steam Deck verified. They keep selling more and more of those.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's there's still plenty of options, and that's where the conversation comes in, where it's like, hey, do you want to get the cool feature that everyone wants back, or do we want to spend time optimizing for existing players?
Yeah, but if you optimize, won't that allow you to get some of these? I mean, some of the reasons why you guys have told us in the past that you can't do the cool sky, or that we can't have the storms back, are because it's not optimized in a way that's going to be efficient. So, don't you think it's going to give you the ability to be able to do some of these cool things that we've been thinking about or asking for? Or
definitely possible. I think there's sort of diminishing returns there, but I think you're right.
Sure.
Like the Switch update was a big one for us. Like that was the optimizations there really put us in a good spot, and that's why like we followed up with that. Remember we did like what was that? The mode that we called it, like the sort of high settings modes. That way we could like you could turn your settings up to high and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, only optimizing for Switch allowed us to do stuff like that. So you're right. I think it would be great to bring back clouds. It would be great to bring back a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, it's just.
Are you guys
also it's personnel?
Yeah, I know. Are you guys a single code base, or do you guys split for Switch? Right? You're managing 2 code bases. Did you guys ever
slightly different for Switch?
Meaning, so, did you guys rejoin back into 1 code base, or you guys are still working off of 2?
There's separate stuff for Switch, yeah, because of just how we have to do planet generation things. But like, I guess if you get really technical, like we can cut a build for Switch from the work that we're doing right now. But yeah, we have to set separate parameters for that build so it knows to do the correct thing. And I'm probably like really simplifying and sounding really dumb to probably the engineers who are listening right now, but it's not crazy different, but it definitely, there's some core choices that we had to make.
Are you guys outsourcing regression testing?
Mm-mm.
No, you're doing it in-house?
Yep. We have
those guys.
We're one of the few studios that like has like I think every once in a while we'll need to like kind of surge to bring other people in to just help with testing, but I love that we have an in-house QA team. Honestly, it's like super rad. But we used to do some outsourcing there, but our team is so good, and like, it helps to be able to work with the same people for multiple years, and they speak the same language as you. They know all the existing stuff. You don't have to go back and explain things to them. Yeah, shout out to Kieran and Gina and Sam and Eric and everyone who worked on this update. They've been grinding super hard. I hate actually naming names because now I'm going to forget one person and then I'm going to feel sad.
Be like, right.
Yeah.
Just do that. I want to thank all the people.
Yeah, I love the QA team in-house is amazing because it's like, yeah, they can just test things super fast, and they know the game better than anyone else. And I'm actually really stoked and like proud that we have an in-house QA team that's not just like managing some outsourced team.
One of the challenges of doing the multi-platform for any kind of coding is if you're not outsourcing that, you're having to manage every time you release. You have to go back and you need to test each one of those platforms to make sure that you didn't destroy anything. And I'm amazed that you guys are putting out content as fast with having to. What, we are 4 platforms now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
4 platforms.
Technically 5 because Windows 10 is its own platform and its own stuff.
Sean, is this live? Yeah, it's live. Go ahead.
This is live, yes. So you can ask questions, Sean, if you got some burning, or if you got a bone to pick with me. Feel free. Is there a platform over there? I think you just walked by a working platform.
No, is there really?
It's got. I see the yellow on it. The wind.
Yeah, but there's no oxygen there. That's what I want. I'm looking for oxygen, man.
Yeah, but a platform will at least get you. Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, a platform will get me what? It'll get me enough time for the oxygen filter to run down and me to die. I need some O2.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So our QA team's awesome, and they help us. I mean, to give you an anecdote, we had to. Oh, you're so here. We had to cut like our hotfix builds. For this update, and like because we're gonna do a hotfix. I guess that's an announcement right now. There's some stuff that we already knew was going into the build that we wanted to fix, and like,
can you tell us?
I'm thinking,
Since you just leaked that, can you tell us what?
There's a big one, which is there's a bug that sometimes happens if you're playing in the no shelter mode, where if you're playing with multiple people, and you like die and a bunch of times, and then like save the game and then load it and then do a whole thing there, that you might lose your starting spawn point. And you ever get like spawned in the center of a planet, or like something happens and you like end up in the center of a planet or something?
No, but what I can tell you is my experience in this stream has been the no shelter thing, or I was getting spawned underneath the shelter.
Yes. So there's a couple like weird things there, but there's a really bad bug where like you basically just get soft locked after you load and save the game potentially.
Ouch.
So
Ouch.
we have a hotfix for that,
Okay.
and a couple other things that we kind of knew that were going to be in the build. So
Okay.
yeah, I think. So all right. So I was saying, I'm like, hey guys, like we're gonna do this hotfix, and can we cut builds? And how long do you think it'll take to run through the test cases for this stuff? And they're like, oh, we'll let you know tomorrow, but you know, could be tomorrow actually. And I'm thinking like, think about all the things they have to test. They got to test multiplayer. They have to test single player. They have to test DS. They have to test
Are you guys
all
automated?
platforms.
Are you doing automation or no? It's a manual testing.
They have a great system. They have a whole bunch of saves that have different progress, so that way you can like test end game, you can test beginning of the game, you can test multiplayer.
Oh, that's
like it's
crazy.
it's such a great team, with a lot of really good thought put into it. That's like, you know, they're not just sitting down and going, I guess I'll just start a brand new save and test. It's like,
Right.
oh no, I actually had this thing where I was like, oh, I really want to record this cutscene, but I don't have like a save with it. And I asked Kieran, one of the QA, like senior QA people, I think. I don't know if he's a senior yet. I don't want to say that out loud, but Kieran, who's been here with us forever, who actually just celebrated an anniversary. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to record this like very specific moment in the game. He's like, oh, I got a save for that here. Load up the save and like literally slot this thing into the thing, and then you'll get the snail mission end sequence. And I was like, oh, well, that's really helpful. And like, it's like stuff like that you wouldn't get with an outsourcer that we have with our in-house team. That's like so helpful and makes things much faster for us.
Right. Right, because they need to go back and test that, make sure that's still working. Right, that makes a lot of
Yep.
sense. Is there anybody else have any questions? I want to hear Joe's answer to the question. I'm a creator of most of the challenges in Discord. Okay, hold on. Let me read this. Let me make sure I have an oxygen filter so I can read your question. And that's the main reason I haven't been reading questions, is I've been trying to stay alive. Can they add the option? Okay, that was that. Well, I think he didn't answer the question, the pumpkin question, being able to disable.
Oh, I did not
pumpkin.
answer that question.
Yeah.
Why do we want to disable the? Do we just not like it, or? I want to understand that.
Can storms be added to the customization? See there. No, I'll answer a Joe answer for you guys.
Yeah. Here we go.
Storms weren't really thought out, and the way we implemented storms was not the best way, and so we would have to go back and rethink the purpose of storms and why we would want to have the storms there before we could implement storms. So we'll keep thinking about it and get back to you.
I love how you also changed your voice a little bit.
Sorry, I don't talk to you enough to get the Joe impression, but you know.
Yeah.
And it's totally valid though.
Yeah. I think we could just probably turn it back on, and it would be super wonky and super whatever, and then people would like. I guess what I'm saying is, or the thing I think about is like all these people who are excited about the idea of what storms add to the game, which is really cool. I'd rather make them happy with something that's actually worth playing than just being like, oh, let's just like throw this thing back in the game that wasn't that great to begin with. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
I mean, you guys have always been a, sandbox, not necessarily a survival. Though, if you go back and listen to very beginning interviews with Adam and them talking about the first instance of the game and what they thought the game was going to be, it kind of morphed into what it is today, right? So there was some thought of more of a survival type aspect to the game, but yet now it is more of a sandboxy kind of game. Do you ever envision adding that in more of a survival type thing? Is it always just going to be where it is today? right? You're just going to continue to keep adding more things, but not necessarily change core game mechanics like food, like
Right.
water,
Yeah, yeah.
like any of that stuff.
I don't think we would go that far. I think that's the thing that, you know, it's kind of tough because it's almost like we would then like add a. I wouldn't want to be in territory where we're basically adding an entirely new game as just like a game mode to the existing game.
Right, but that goes for storms, right? You'd have to find a purpose of storms. Why, or at the very least, you would have to find, maybe add some equipment to make storms more interesting, right? So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I go to this planet as a storm. What's my protection from it? Is it a hole in the ground? Is it a piece of equipment I can build? Is it, you know?
Yep.
But
All
that to me, right, screams more survival mechanics.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I think that's why it's very attractive, because what it does is it adds the people want a challenge, and I totally get that. Like that's very interesting to me too. I think that's why it's worth thinking about, because it's like, well, if people want a challenge, what are the things that we could do that would add a challenge to Astroneer? And storms could be one of those things, but it could be a number of things. You mentioned like health, right? Or like hunger. I don't think we would do hunger, but like you're already thinking about the multiple ways that this could play out that would be different than just like adding storms. So I think that's kind of where we're at. It's like if we want to add more difficulty or more survival-y elements, that it would be multiple things, not just like this one feature, just throw it back in there and then boom, you have a survival game. So
hey, 2 years ago when we were talking about the whole DeSolo thing and the hoverboard and stuff, you threw out that we got on the topic of missions, and you'd said, well, one of the reasons why missions was implemented is that because you found out that 80% of the people were not leaving Silva. What?
Yep.
How has that metric changed?
It's changed a lot, actually. I think, I mean, there's still like things that we want to do to improve. Like, we're talking right now about like what we could do to improve the early game experience for like new players, because we're getting a lot of new players, right? Still hundreds of thousands. And so there's some stuff that we want to do there, but like, as far as like people actually knowing what to do, or sitting down and like maybe they haven't played the game a ton of times and they just like want something to do, they can just literally open their backpack and the game will be like, hey, try to do this thing, you know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it definitely has changed it. Do we want to keep improving that? Yes. Do we want to keep changing that? 100%. But you know, I think we needed it, especially like when you talk about a platform. You know, if you talk about something like Game Pass, we are like one of the top performers on Game Pass, which means we get a lot of players from there. And these people, those people, they have very little understanding of what Astroneer is, right? They probably didn't even watch a trailer. They just saw some key art and said, oh, download the game for free.
Right.
And those kinds of players, they are significantly benefiting from like that kind of more structured approach. That's what they're used to, you know? A Steam player has probably played a bunch of survival games before, has probably played, you know, some experiences that are like this, used to play DayZ, knows what that thing is like. But, you know, your average Xbox player who's playing on Game Pass, who downloaded it for $5 or whatever, they maybe haven't played a survival game before. They haven't played a sandbox game like this before that has been out for a while. So I think it helps there for sure. It's a big improvement.
What's your age group? What's your age demographic?
It varies. We don't have like, you know, I don't farm any. Oh, you passed some power cells. I don't farm any stuff from. Like, we don't get any data from the actual game itself. We only get it from platforms. Like,
right.
Xbox will tell us that these number of people who have opted in,
right,
this is their age range or whatever.
Yeah. But are you seeing it? Are you seeing it more teen, or is it more 20, or is it more 30? What has kind of been your overall kind of? And I guess that would change over time, right? You know, a sale would bring in some. But what, you know, historically over the last 6 years, what would you say your demographic was?
It's definitely still like the main audience of other games. So, you know, like you're 18 to 30 something, you know, 18 to whatever. But that also is hard to tell because they don't collect data on people who are necessarily younger than that, depending on what platform you're on.
No, right. Under 30.
But when I look at like anecdotally from our stuff, we have a ton of young players. You know, we have a ton of people who like want, because it's an E for everyone game, and that's part of why we're unique in some of these catalogs that we're in. That like
Right.
we are this big E for everyone game that's not just like a kids game. You know, we're not like the Lego Movie game. We're like a game that has some adult themes, but also is like super chill and lighthearted and fun and like whatever. So it's hard to say because we like I said, we don't get that data ourselves. But from what the platforms say, we are the core gaming audience that you might expect, with like maybe a slight younger skew than some other games in our in our space.
It's kind of interesting because everybody, I'm an older gamer, and everybody that I play with is older gamers, and it seems like the guys that are really like the hardcore guys are, you know, plus 50. So it's
Well,
yeah, no, it's
yes.
no. I mean, it's one of those games that has mass appeal, right? It's not like your kiddie game. It's not like your mid-range game. I think everybody can get into the game. So
Yeah, I mean, we all hope that we can be a nerd too late and be playing the game at that age. You know?
Nerd too late. I know. Nerd, what's up, buddy? Kill said he's 77 playing. So and the Heat Kill is playing. He's so religious. He's like Astroneer is morning and afternoon, I think, for him. Him and Ron are constantly on the private server.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, playing. And I don't know. They've figured everything out about Astroneer and then some. So I can't find this POI. I've been run this whole planet 3 times and I can't find it. What is it? Is it? Do you get one of these on every planet or no?
Nope.
Oh, jeez. It could
There's
be
a
under.
chance
It
for
could
it.
be underground though, too, right?
It could be, or it could be like super in a mountain or something, and it's hard for you to see as you're running around.
Man, I don't know that I'd be able to play this configuration. For all though you guys that have joined late, I'm playing the configuration update for Astroneer. It is absolutely amazing. Being a hardcore Astroneer fan, this has been something I've been wanting for a very, very long time. Being able to tweak the game and have it be the way that I want it to be, which is maybe a little bit more challenging than what other people want. And so I'm exploring some configuration stuff, and Joe has been so kind. Joe is you didn't give me your title, but I'm going to call you communications director.
Totally fine.
Okay, of System Era, and he's been on chatting with us and talking about not only the configuration update, but other things about Astroneer and System Era, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. It's been fantastic.
No problem. I'm happy to answer any more questions that you have. I think it's funny, actually. I'll give you this. There's definitely moments during development of this where we'd be in a design discussion about like a feature, and I'd go, "Oh man, OneLastMidnight's gonna like this one." There's a certain like type of player who is going to go in and adjust all 300 settings, and I know people like you and people in your community are those types of people.
Absolutely, and I think we're probably going to come up with something that is going to blow you guys away. I think that well, I don't know. This is all subjective, right? I give it to somebody who's 7 or a cousin or whatever. They're like, "Oh, it's going to be too hard," and it's like, okay, go play for 400 hours, then play my configuration, and I think you'll love it. But you're going to need to have that experience first to, like, look, I've been running around on this planet for an hour and 40 minutes, and I think I've only died once for lack of oxygen. So you need to be at that kind of level. How to stay alive without tether or all that kind of stuff. Let me ask one last question, because I know you've got stuff to do. And
Please.
You can't hang out here all day. Okay. This is probably going to be a no, but I'm going to ask it anyways.
Here we go.
Way back when you guys first brainstormed this and you guys were bootstrapping it, you guys gave out a demo to friends and family that was very, very old. That was almost, it wasn't this color scheme. It was more black and white-ish. There's some video out there if you watch your own documentary, or if you watch some of those other videos where you can actually see wind having an effect on the character and things blowing away in the background. Does that exist anywhere? And is
It
there
does.
and
Ooh.
is there an ability to be able to just take a peek at it?
There's Adam would know better than I am, and Adam is in the chat actually right now. I'm sure it exists somewhere. Uh, how accessible it would be to us to actually like put it on a branch or something is very low. Probably.
I don't want you to give it to anybody but me.
I see.
I don't want you guys to have I don't want you guys to have support calls or anything like that. But I remember I saw the video of that and I was amazed by and I'm sure it's just rough. It's just really proof of concept kind of stuff. But I would really like to have more than just a little bit of that, 15-second video clip and experience maybe where you guys first initially started with and where you were possibly going, because it seemed pretty amazing, and it was definitely had some of that stormy feel to it, and that was a big effect of it looked like of a possible mechanic of the game. Yeah, noodle that around. See if you can.
I'll see what I can.
See if you can finagle something.
Adam definitely would know better than I would because that's even probably before my time. But if you look at like our video, that's like the history of Astroneer video or whatever. You'll see some of that older stuff in there, and Adam could speak to it. But I'm gonna just attempt to talk about the things that he said about this, which is like originally the game was supposed to be about a lonely astronaut, and it was supposed to be a bit more harsh, a bit more unforgiving as far as like the setting was like you're by yourself. It is a bit darker. It is a bit more bleak because you are by yourself. And obviously we went a little bit different of a direction. We have this colorful, lighthearted, pretty chill experience. But yeah, some of that early stuff, the art direction and the creative direction for it was very much like, basically, just darker.
Yeah,
just a
dark
darker
sci-fi kind of experience. Yeah.
Yeah, stranded, solo, that those kinds of like words to describe the experience. So.
Right.
But yeah, I'll talk to Adam. We'll see. I'm sure he'll see this because I saw him in chat, and I wonder if he's looking on his computer right now, going,
I'm sorry I haven't looked and read anybody else's chat. I am really honestly trying to survive, and looking for something and reading chat and doing that at the same time is challenging. And
This is exactly what we wanted. We wanted Astroneer to be a bit more of an active, not passive experience. If you wanted to try it, So this is good. I like that this is working.
Well, I'm kind of done. I've got not only am I not finding what I want, which is a major disappointment for this particular seed, but I also need to go somewhere. I'm amazed. I'm gonna keep restarting over and over again. So let me just go back to the main menu here. Otherwise, I'm just gonna constantly be dying and coming back. But I'm amazed at what you guys did. I mean, the configuration stuff, and let me go through it for you guys that are just coming into this system era, and the team of awesome people there have given us something that we've been asking for plus 5 years, which is the ability to configure Astroneer the way that we want it to. And play the way we want to. And there are, you said 300 settings?
There's so many options.
There's so
like,
I mean,
you could go to each individual planet and each individual biome and then modify each individual one of those, so it's a lot.
The research catalog, being able to disable all of these items, and what Joe was saying, being able to modify a planet and being able to add modifiers, modify biomes, modify all kinds of stuff. I'm floored. I'm floored that you guys are able to do it, because 2 years ago, it was a hardcore, no way. And I think I even remember you saying, no, man, there's just so much underlying under there. There's no possible way that we could pull that off or something, And so I'm glad that you guys kept that in the back burner. And this is something that you gave the community. And I'm sure the community has been, I haven't been following it, but I think people put out videos like yesterday or something. So I'm not entirely sure what the response is, but I'm head over heels. I'm trying to figure out what the best configuration would be, and something that would be more of a survival, challenging kind of experience without having to change mechanics in the game, and being able to. I didn't see resources. Is that something you guys nixed? Where are the resources?
No, you should be able to adjust resources per biome, per planet.
You got to go per biome. So
yeah, there's no global setting.
No global setting. Why is that?
The way it's set up is per planet. It's
is it
not
really?
There's no just like chart that says reduce all compound among the entire solar system. That's one of those things that we ran into where it's like you would think that's how it was built.
Right.
And then you go look at it and you're like, oh wait, oh no. And then like have to make the choice of, oh, we really want this feature, but we might have to do it in a way that's like a little bit cumbersome, but like let's just give people the option to do it. And if they want to, then they can. But yeah, I would love to have a global slider for compound, for example, or say, hey, nanocarbon alloy, turn it up or something. But unfortunately, it's all set up in the individual planet modifiers, and it's all generated in that time. So it's hard to adjust. Okay. I love that your main menu ship looks like it's on fire and smoking because of your cosmetics.
From the back end. It's coming in. Yeah. Would satisfactory build option also be an option for Astroneer? Satisfactory build. Well, you know, we've talked build for I can't tell you how many years. Are you guys ever going to do floors and walls and ceilings as a build component?
Let me ask you a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pose a question to you. I mean, how if we just let's just say we're you know, all the money in the world, all the resources in the world, and we decided to do something like this. Do you just see that as a fun thing that you would do on its own with no gameplay, just like fun to be able to put doors and walls and build things? Or is it a thing that you would want to integrate into the game systems like weather or something like that?
See, well, you throw weather in there as it's a too big of a teaser. Look, to me, it is, and I have to give another game as an example, just because I think it's very, what am I trying to say? It's very part of this conversation. You look at Valheim, and you ask yourself, why is Valheim such a great experience? And I think a lot of people would initially say it was just fun. The battle was fun, whatever. But the remainder of the community that's pretty much there are builders. And and if you go back and you look at their dev updates, and you know, they're constantly highlighting builds. And it just seems to me that giving people the ability to build inside of a survival game, I quote quotation marks, is what people are really expecting to do. I mean, your base is what you want to make your base unique. You want to make your base special. And there's really no concept of a base in Astroneer. There's always just been a concept of my base happens to be a plot of land in which I put stuff on. But wouldn't it be great if I had, and the only way to achieve walls is to dig down and try to figure out how to get your smooth walls and your best walls. And this goes all the way back to, you know, being able to smooth. So what was that? What did they call that? The
true flat.
The true flat. It goes all the way back to true flat. The only reason people wanted true flat was because they wanted to be able to create cool base walls. So it seems like a natural progression of the game to be able to say, here are base building pieces and a variety of them. I have another question that just popped in my head. And now I can go off and create really cool bases. And my purpose of the game, since I've already finished it, is not necessarily going and getting the resources or going to go back and do some of the missions in the quests. It is, what kind of cool buildings can I build? Right? So, you know, I think it has great value, and I think that that's something you should pose to the community, is what do they think? Because I think it's something that's been asked for probably as much as the new solar system, probably as much as storms coming back.
It's definitely on the list. It's pretty high for me. I think it's just a matter of, you know, like we talked about earlier, like figuring there's a world where we go, oh, we shouldn't do this yet because we haven't figured out a way of how it interacts with the existing game or whatever, right? But there is a world where we just go, well, people just will have fun doing this, and if there's enough of those people, then I'm happy to consider it.
Something to entertain. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this piggybacks on the whole building thing, because if you do give building, you need to have variety. So my question is a platform is a platform, right?
Sure.
It's just a model. You already have the game mechanics already associated with it. It's not like it's doing anything special. Is that a good statement? Is that a valid statement? Are platforms just platforms? And you have an algorithm that says, okay, I know how to deal with power, I know how to deal with oxygen, I know how to deal with whatever. So it's really just a model.
It's a technical. So the way we built this, to not go into too detailed of an explanation, it's like we have certain components. So like power is a component, oxygen is a component, and they're made for platforms. So we could generate an infinite number of variations for platforms and just put the slots in a different place, and then they would behave like a platform does.
Why haven't
you know what I mean? Like,
that's my question. Why haven't you? And you go, and the same for.
I love this question. This is good, actually.
I mean, I understand the. Let's take the small wind turbine, and if you do a Google search on wind turbines, you can come up with maybe 7 or 8 different variations of a wind turbine. So why can't I have a variation of my existing wind turbine? I'm talking skin, solely skin. I'm not talking anything other than
functionality.
Yeah, I'm not talking anything other than, because look at you start looking at base building pieces. You start looking at even your base itself currently today, and you want to have it look different, but there's not an ability to have it look different.
Yep. It is a thing that I think about a lot, and and I don't want to go too far into this because these are some active conversations you're digging at right now. There's multiple ways to go about it. Part of me thinks base decoration and base deco, like sometimes we think a lot about like shapes and how shapes look differently, and how we can make people's bases look different by just like adding new platforms. Everyone clowns on the dome platform, but I actually really love it because it gives your base like a different shape or whatever. But I think there is nothing stopping us from doing it. The first part of your question was about like, why don't we do a bunch of variations? Honestly, we got a lot of crap for that. We got a lot of crap when we were just putting out platforms. People were saying, "Oh, this is just a platform. This isn't content. What is this?"
Let's put it into context, though. I mean, if you were to say that the big update for that month, right, or for that 3 months period of time was a new platform, then yeah, I can see people were saying, "Hey, man, look, this is just a platform," and maybe they weren't looking at the underlying of you're working on stuff, right? Yeah, I understood it, right? But I think we've gotten to the point now where, and Jeff just recommended paint for structures, right? The ability to be able to color code even just part of your base. So, I know that this is printing whatever over here just based off color coding. I think I think you would find some people that would be very, very, very interested in having that. And I don't know if it's the 80% or the 20%. It's hard to say what the 80% is nowadays. What is the 80% nowadays? The 80% way back when was what? Dedicated servers, right? And then
exactly.
And then it was is the 80% still mods? Is that what are people really jonesing for now 6 years in the game? You guys decided to do custom configuration. What led you to do that? I mean, how did you guys say that was going to be your big choice for this year? Or
I can be very that's a specific decision because of the time and where we are with the game's life cycle. So, if 5 months from now sales for Astroneer start plummeting, and we maybe decide that it's not worth continuing to just offer a bunch of free updates for the game, we didn't feel like the package would be done unless this update was in the game, because this allows you, or this idea at least allows you to start doing some really fun stuff with the game on your own, start taking a little bit of ownership over your experience on your own. And so we felt very strongly that like I will say this flat out, this isn't the last update to Astroneer. There are more coming. But if it was, I would feel okay with that. I'd feel like, all right, cool, we've given you some tools to like really customize your experience. We've given you a whole bunch of stuff. We completed the story. Blah 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 blah.
Honestly, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, this is like, this is it. You've given us the ability to configure anything that we want to configure, almost anything, right? Somebody asks, is there going to be more configuration options coming? Do you see this expanding anymore? Have you guys given us the holy grail here?
No, it totally could.
Good.
I think there's some things that didn't make it into this that we'd love to do. It's all a matter of just how people engage. So if there's a ton of people making configurations and sharing them and being really excited about it, then yeah, cool. That sounds good. Let's add more. But that's a discussion for once we sort of see how everything shakes out. But
I never got my plush snail, and because the first run of the plush snail was correlating in time with a vacation that I was having, and I didn't want to buy it and have it delivered to my house when I wasn't here because I would be gone. I think I was in Italy at that time. When are you guys going to be doing more plush snails? When are you guys going to be doing more variation of plush snails? Do you think that there is a demand for it?
There definitely is. Mark doesn't have one either. Oh my goodness, that's brutal. I didn't have one for a long time, actually, myself either. There's definitely a demand for them. This is just what we're dealing with right now, which is there's so much stuff to do. There's so many things we could do. For example, we have new bandanas. They're awesome. They're like the blue ones, but in this orange color that we really like. And just because I'm balancing a crap ton of things all at once, I was like, all right, well, I'll launch those later today because I just couldn't get it in time for the update or whatever, right? So it's just, we could do so many things. There's so many options. There's so many opportunities. Like we focused on like transmedia and comics last quarter, basically, to get the comic books out there, right?
Right.
And like, I want to do 10 more of those. It was a big effort though internally, and it was a lot of time and resources to focus on it. So we're limited by just, the ambition is there. Do we have enough time and
well, why are you guys taking on all the responsibility yourselves? You can't find a good third-party company to work with to take some of this on for you guys?
It's surprisingly hard to do that. Also, I'll be honest, this is just an admission for myself. I'm pretty like specific about this kind of stuff, I think ownership. I really don't want to be in a situation where you just go, hey, make us some stuff, here's some assets and like whatever, we're pretty specific, and I actually really like that. Like, I'd rather have a good product that comes out less than have a really crappy product that there's a million of and then no one really cares about it. Like, I like to be very curated with it, and I think that's kind of our style, and I actually really like that. But yeah, it does mean that sometimes there's not enough vinyl records, for example, for everyone, for the demand that's out there. And I think that's one of those things where 5 years ago, I did not think that I would be helping run a merchandise store for Astroneer internally. But
I don't think you should. I don't think you should. I think that should be outsourced. I mean, that's something to me that is like, I know that you want quality products, and then quality products is a completely different story, right? Just finding a manufacturer to produce something that you feel is representative of your company is a challenge in and of itself. But there's so many fulfillment companies there's Amazon, buddy.
Okay.
Just ship it to Amazon, man. You have a fulfillment
company.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a partner. They're awesome. They're called Slingshot Merchandising. They're really cool. They do a bunch of like merch for like bands.
Yep.
So like, if you're a band, you can get your stuff shipped to like your venue or whatever. And we're one of their first gaming clients. So shout out to them. They're really sick actually. So some of the stuff we do outsource, but designing a plush, we had to do 5 revisions of that, and we have to wait for China to send us the samples so that way we could make sure that the stitching is good, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know.
It adds up, It's a lot of time of an effort that even when you outsource it, it's just time approving and checking and creating and stuff. So we keep proving every year that this thing's got a lot of legs, and this franchise is really cool, and we're just going to keep trying to do as much as we can with all the hours that we have in a day. But yeah, I appreciate you talking to me. This has been fun, actually. This is like a OneLastMidnight Astroneer vlog, right?
Dude, I don't know what it turned into. it just came whatever it came. There was one last question. Somebody had one last question, and I thought it was really, really good. And I don't know if I can find it here in time before. And if I don't find it in just 1 second, then I'm out. I am, my sweet baby. I will be off in a minute. Thanks.
Sorry.
And I can't find it. Somebody asked something, and I really wanted to answer. But thank you, Joe. I appreciate all of you guys that are in SES that are watching this. I love you guys. I think the game is absolutely amazing. Everybody that is in my community, and we tend to be a little bit on the older side, are all extreme fans of the work that you've done. And we're jonesing for V2 or whatever it is you come out with next, even if it is a temple runner or whatever. We want to see the Astroneer temple runner. We want to see.
Will you play the Astroneer dating sim?
whatever, right? We got it. Right. So, thanks again, Joe, for being here, and thank everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful.
Thanks.
My wife's calling me. I gotta go. You know how that is.
You're in trouble.
I'm in trouble. We'll see you guys. Bye, Joe. Thank you, everybody.